Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us on the Spy Shack podcast, a podcast where Survivor fans get together and talk the latest episode of Survivor. And today we're going to be talking about episode 11, Reinventing How the Game is Played. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mark. Mark, how are you doing today?
Uh, could have gone better,
And
but
today
I'm
we're going to be
okay.
talking about episode 11, Reinventing How the Game is Played. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and just interrupt. One of us has their YouTube audio on. So, Randy, how are you doing today, Randy?
I'm doing pretty good. I tried to think of something witty to say, but I got nothing.
And Kim, how are you doing today?
I am doing good. It was a pretty decent episode. Happy with the outcome. I mean, I'm not ecstatic, but I agreed with it.
We want to go ahead and say hello to everybody who is joining us live. I see Ace is here, Shell's here, Geronimo, my brother, is here. It looked like
Saw Andrew earlier.
Yeah, Andrew was here earlier. I'm not sure if he's still with us, but he might have come in at our previous time slot. So, yes, right now we're thinking of moving it to the 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern time to move us out of the Amazing Race time slot, so you guys don't have to be worrying about missing that. So we are here now live talking about episode 11, and let's just jump into it. We saw the aftermath of last week's tribal council where Sarah flipped and actually removed Deb out of the game. And there's a lot of silence going on after tribal, and even I forgot who it was. I think Brad or Troyzan. They talk about how silent it is. It's never been that silent, and Sarah confesses to being the one that flipped. It's kind of surprising that they hadn't to that point noticed that it was her, but it could have just been the shock of everything that happened. They were so sure that they were on top, and now they're on the bottom. What do you guys think of that?
I think it was a good idea that Sarah confessed. I think they would have figured it out. It was her anyway, and I think she just would have then looked like a liar. It's better to say, hey, you know what? I had to flip for what I thought was best for my game. But, and then you're confessing, so you're kind of, not that it's forgiven and forgotten. It's just, it was better for her game to admit it was her, because at the end of the day, they would have figured it out anyway.
Yeah, I thought she did a pretty good job. She kind of made it a non-event. She just like, you guys are probably wondering who flipped. It was me. And that was kind of the end of it. There was no big fight about it. There was no big drama there. I thought it was interesting hearing Sierra ask, why did you choose Debbie? And them just saying, well, we thought she was in charge. I thought it was kind of interesting, that whole series of events there. But I think Sarah handled it really well. She speaks in a very calm, cool, and collected approach.
She's a cop.
Exactly.
I think she speaks like a cop.
Yeah, she doesn't come across as like offensive to anyone. She just is very smart in the way she speaks about things. So I thought she did a pretty good job there.
Yeah, I think she did too. I think she handled it well. She got to the point, and nobody was really mad at her. But I don't believe that they thought Debbie was in charge. I do believe it was more personal because they didn't trust her and she plays games. But I don't think for a second they thought Debbie was in charge.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I think that was just something they used just to say that, to justify it, but it was just to attack the major alliance. Now, one thing that I find interesting is that even though Sarah flipped, no one's really going after her before that. It's not like the other alliance. They know they're in the bottom, and they're kind of like, we need to find our way out, but they're not going after her saying, hey, well, Sarah flipped once and she might flip again. That's something I would think I would see out of that major alliance, but it's not happening. So that's why I feel like, going back to last week, I feel like she's actually playing a great game as far as socially, that nobody is going against her, or no one feels like they're being attacked by her.
But I agree with you. I don't think that anyone's technically after her, and I don't think there's anyone there that does not like her. But with that said, I don't think that she's someone when they want to form an alliance that they're running to. But I don't think that she's unliked, and I don't think she's playing a bad game. I think she's playing a good game, not fantastic, but a good game, much better than her last season. And she has a good social game. Everybody likes her. And that is important in this game.
I think she definitely is playing very smart and very calm. She likes power, and there are definitely some people out there that are playing that up and letting her have the power. And as we'll see that in this episode, how some of the other people on the island will play to her need to be in charge, and will play to her ego a little bit. And I don't think she's overly egotistical, but I just think everyone has an ego, and I think there's some people that are playing to hers really well.
Cirie.
Yeah, exactly.
Cirie is a whole different story, because Cirie, I think Cirie's close to Sarah, but Cirie is not going to let that cloud her judgment as far as who she's going to team up with or who she's going to attack, because she likes Sarah.
Yeah, I think she's kind of playing her a little bit, but not in an evil way, but she's definitely manipulating her for sure.
Yes, 100%. That's why I said I think that no one is technically after Sarah, but I don't think that anyone is saying, I want Sarah in my alliance. Because really, what's the difference between what Sarah has done and what Ty has done? I mean, if you really think about it, Sarah is a flip-flopper. Sarah, you can't trust Sarah. But so what is the difference between the two? Between Sarah and Ty?
I think Ty doesn't give you any confidence in her. Even in him, even though Sarah has flip-flopped, people trust her. And that's because of the social game.
Social game is better than Ty's, 100%.
Yes. So we have Shell saying Cirie is low-key making things happen. See, she sees all this. I'm sorry. She sees all and is slick in her manipulations. So yeah, I think that's what we've all been on the side of how great of a player Cirie is, and I think we're all in agreement that she is one of the greatest or the greatest player not to win.
I can say that she's definitely one of the greatest, and I'm hoping that this is her year. You know, it's really hard with my draft picks because I genuinely like them all, and I did think they've all playing a great game. So it's hard when I can go, I can lose this person. I mean, I don't have a Debbie, you know, where I can be like, they can go. Everyone I have has played a good game, so it's hard when I look at them and say, I'm going to lose one of them. Like, Cirie is playing a really good game, and I get nervous because they're on opposite sides. So, I don't know. I hope Cirie wins, not just for my draft, just because I want to see her win. We deserve to see her win.
And we have Andrew, who has rejoined us. I think Sarah has a good enough social game to rebound from her flip-flopping, so that's a good sign for her, which I agree. And Ace, Sarah knows when to push and pull back. And Ace did actually ask something about Deb. Well, we'll get that towards the end of the episode when we talk about Tribal, is why Debbie called them idiots. And I have my reasons, I think, why she did that. But and we have Abe has just joined us.
Hi, Abe. Hey, Andrew.
So let's talk about the reward challenge. One thing that I had said before in the previous episode is that there's been a lot less going out to nice places and getting out of camp for the rewards. And this changed this time around. They took them to a nice night stay at a resort where they're able to shower, eat, sleep on a real bed and all that, which is it's fine. I don't necessarily need to see it happen, but it's nice to see them actually do that.
Yeah, I think they showed us enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only need to see a few seconds. Unless they're talking game, I really don't care to see it. But I have a question. During the rewards, was it the reward challenge where they said it was sponsored by Lowe's? Because I remember thinking, just like before with Marshalls, I could have swore there was something that said it was sponsored by Lowe's. Please, if anyone saw that, write it in the chat.
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I might have. If it did, I missed it.
It was like in a commercial. It wasn't. It was the first commercial that came after.
There was a Lowe's commercial, like that was kind of Survivor.
And it said it was. Yes. Okay, that's what I wanted.
Okay, had to do with the reward. Yeah.
So this particular challenge is a challenge that happened with what Millennials versus Gen X, I believe.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it just happened because I remember we spoke about, but they did it. I thought they did it differently to where only one person went up and then they pulled, because we had commented on who they chose to go into that bench.
I think they still had 3 different people go up, but there was some drama with that because I think the Gen X chose Chris Hammonds.
Yeah, but he's so big.
Which was kind of odd. But so I'm going to take back a little bit what I've said in the past about how I like puzzles. I like puzzles. I like puzzles in a challenge, but no puzzle should ever take an hour. Yeah. Like that's a problem with this one. And it happened the same thing last season where it took them forever to figure that out.
I think it was like about 45 minutes last time, and then it took like a full hour this time.
I think that basically Probes just starts giving clues. Basically he just starts telling them what it is because it's taken them so long. I mean, that was a really long puzzle. It wasn't one word. What was it? 4 words that you have to figure out?
Well, yeah. I think last year was the participation trophy one.
Yeah, something about not getting participation trophy, but these I like the puzzles, right? I do love the puzzles. It's just that when they put these long words in the saying, and it's something. It used to be dig deep, or it used to be immunity, or no tribe before you, or something like that. Now they're trying to put something that fits to the theme, I guess, without actually using something that they've used in the season. But then Jeff has to help him out. Jeff has to drop clues until some finally, I guess who was it, Zeeke, that like, Andrea, yeah. So they were like, reinventing, and that one cracked it up for them.
Yeah, because you got to think that Probst is talking that whole 45 to 50 minutes, just talking and talking and talking, just kind of narrating it. You kind of have to figure out when you want to listen to Probst and when you just want to like drown him out and like focus on what you're doing. So there's like a fine line there, because he's, after a while, he wants to go home too. So he's dropping hints and trying to basically say the same thing without using those words. So I think there was a little bit of that.
Yeah, we've seen it happen before in other seasons where he starts helping them out. And I forgot what it was when they're doing like a word scramble, and then they had to jumble the words after each one intersects. And they were there for a while, and he started doing the same thing. But that one was way more blatant as far as the clue he was giving.
Yeah, it was weird.
Because they guessed it like right after it, didn't they? He basically told them, and then they got it.
Yeah.
And I think that one was they even, or was one just way closer than the other at that point when he gave that final clue? But he was like, 2 + 2 is, and they're like, the answer's 4.
So we have Andrew in the chat. Their phrases they use now are pretty cliche and terrible. They should go back to the one-word thing, because that's the point of the rest. That's because what's the point of the rest of the challenge of the puzzle is that difficult to figure out. Of course, puzzles play the part of the who wins the challenge, but I feel like the phrases they put are a bit too much and put too much emphasis on that aspect, and then the physical part becomes completely worthless. And I think everybody's saying, yeah, they agree. Ace, I would have picked out small words and then figured out the long one from what's left. I felt like they did that at some point at the end. Kudos to Andrea for another win.
Yeah, and this was a really impressive episode for Andrea that we'll get to more later, but this was an all-around great episode for her.
So
getting to the reward, I thought at one point that Michaela was going to murder Ty, because Ty was not doing that great, and she was yelling at him. I'm like, she's gonna cut him when they get back to camp because she's mad.
Michaela beat Brad through that obstacle course. I just want to state that.
She's a
definitely
beast.
him through there.
She is phenomenal on
She's a
challenges.
great competitor.
I thought Sarah was doing so well, and then she just face plants on that first or second obstacle. What is that? I was looking for a screen cap for this episode, and when I put Survivor episode 11, there was a bunch of different websites that came up that were recapping, and one of them I didn't get click on it, I didn't read on it, but it said something about Troyzan hurting his tearing an ACL during this challenge. I haven't seen anywhere else, but I don't know.
He posted it on Twitter.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, wow. That must be.
It was a ACL tear. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't. If he tore his ACL, he would be getting surgery.
He wouldn't be stepping up.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, that's crazy pain. I mean, it hurts more than a break.
He probably tweaked his knee or something, and he probably did get hurt, but nothing serious.
Do you think it's like kind of like what's his name, Tyson?
Yeah, exactly. It could be like a Tyson hurting his shoulder at the beginning of Blood vs. Water.
Let's see what people are saying. Ace Andrea is showing that she's a challenge beast. Also, Ty in challenges is too much. He's always so slow. He needs to sit out in group challenges. Well, Michaela was pulling, and he's like, "What are you doing right up behind me?"
She was mad.
Yeah. So who is it that goes on the reward? It's
it was Andrea, Culpepper,
Zeeke, Sarah, Aubrey.
Yes.
And on the reward, the one thing that I did enjoy that they showed is how Brad was able to kind of connect with Zeeke by using that football pass. I mean, I'm pretty sure Brad did not know. There's no way he knew that Zeeke was.
And that's the thing. Yeah, he didn't see Zeke's season, so he doesn't know that that's the way to connect, like how Zeeke did with Chris Hammond. So he didn't even know that. So that was kind of impressive. Plus, you see Brad say, like, he doesn't say it, but you see him work it. I know I'm on the bottom. I need to start using my social ability. And you do
and he
see.
Does. He has a good. Culpepper has a good social game.
Yeah.
I mean, for everybody who likes Sarah, I mean, everybody likes Culpepper. Nobody complains about him. I mean, other than what Debbie did, nobody complains about him. He gets along with everyone, and he was happy with who went with him on this challenge because, again, he said, I need other people. I need to create that bond. And Sarah saw that bond happen between Culpepper and Zeeke, and she wasn't happy about it.
Yeah.
She was nervous.
I feel like when Brad threw out that football stuff to Zeeke, I feel like he said it kind of like playing with him, thinking he didn't know football. But then when Zeeke kind of like, oh, yeah, I was there. And he was like, oh, really? And then he used that to kind of build on.
I really kind of bet Zeeke started the football conversation because he knows that Brad's a football. Like, he knows Brad played in the NFL. He knows who Brad is. So he probably brought it up. I think probably that we don't see on the edited show. But still, I think Brad did a good job with keeping going with it.
Yeah,
So,
I have a feeling that he probably consciously brought it up just to have it in with Brad and his group.
Yeah, because Zeeke wanted to connect there too.
Yeah.
So this is really where it actually starts Andrea on her quest to. I mean, she was already targeting Zeeke, but I think this even made it more obvious that she had to go after Zeeke because she saw how Zeeke and Brad were able to connect. And nobody else was seeing how Brad was able to use these stupid little things that he was doing, like putting the hat on and sitting there just to be like sociable. I mean, just to be funny.
Yeah.
And sometimes all you need is laughter. All you need is you're just being funny to get on people's good side, and now they're good with you.
I think it was RHAP. They made a really good point about this. If you think about it, Andrea grew up in the Boston Rob School of Survivor, where you don't talk to the other side. You have the buddy system where you're not allowed to make ties with the other side. I think that was a really good point when it comes to this, because that's where she's automatically like, why is Zeke doing that? That's the stupidest thing you could do, is start talking to the enemy. I thought that was really interesting, is kind of thinking back through that, of seeing these players and seeing that the games that they've played in the past and comparing that to what they're doing now. I thought that was an interesting kind of view to look at that from.
We have a question from Ace. Do you think Aubrey stoked the fire between Zeke and Andrea? She's always watching and leaving little comments about people she's uneasy with, like, for instance, Debbie, and then she went home.
That's Aubrey.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I 100%. I don't know who I said it to. I said it to someone. I said, I think they are not showing everything Aubrey is doing. I said,
Yeah.
Aubrey is there's no way she was this mastermind on her season, and now you're seeing very little. But I think the problem is you have Cirie, you have Aubrey, you have Andrea, you have all these people who are playing a good game, and you can't show it all. It's only an hour episode, but I do. I think Aubrey definitely planted some seeds.
And as I've said before, I always recommend listening to Aubrey's extended interviews on CBS All Access, because she has some really interesting things to say. And like, she is so spot on in her view of the game and her role in that game of kind of like sitting back a little bit now. That there's a lot there going on that we're not seeing. And
she's low key.
Yeah, and that's just the way she is. And I'm really impressed with Aubrey.
Yeah, and do you guys think it's bad that we're not seeing that much of Aubrey, though? I mean, we're seeing that. We feel like she's playing the game, and we feel like she's doing something good. However, we're not seeing it, so we can't feel too confident that she's gonna
win.
Yeah,
because she's not getting a winner's edit.
I hope it's not that they're trying to bury the winner edit, because I want to see the story of how the winner took it all. I don't want it just to come from out of nowhere. But
there's so many. I mean, because if we go based on a winner edit, it could be Cirie, it could be Culpepper, it could be Sierra, maybe Sarah. But I still think it'd be maybe Andrea, Culpepper, Sierra, Cirie. Those are the ones who are getting these winning edit. There's 4 of them. You know, like I guess you can't give everybody the winning edit, because then what do you have to go with? I don't know. But I did think about it last night. I did say, Aubrey's not getting this edit she deserves. I know she's doing more. So I know she is.
So we have Steve that joined the chat, and he's like, what's up with Purple Aubrey? She's getting the Michelle edit. And here's the thing. I know RHAP, they talk about, or I don't know if it's RHAP, it's actually the evolution of strategy. They talked about how the winner, a player coming back to play takes something from the winner. Yeah. So if she's doing that, she's taking from the Michelle playbook.
Exactly. But again, I've said this before. I don't think that a returnee season has to have a clear winner edit, because we know these characters, we know their history. So I think there's not as much of a clear defined winner edit as there is in an all new player season.
I agree with you 100%.
I do fear for her lack of screen time. It's not so much a winner edit, it's a lack of screen time that worries me for her.
Yeah, especially since we actually, I think for the majority of Survivor fans, we actually love the way she played.
Oh, absolutely.
And we want to see more of that, but we're not getting it. And we don't feel like she's not doing it. We're just not seeing it.
She's delivering on the facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
She delivers as just the background reaction facial expression. It's great.
Oh, but going back to last week with coleslaw, they just
and there was
Did you see her tweet?
No coleslaw at this reward though.
She said that a coleslaw was banned in her
in her house. Her dad said it looked like cat puke or something. And she didn't have it until college.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So yeah, let's go past the reward. I think we took a lot of time. Let's see. Let's go back camp. Sierra, Ty, both feel like they're at the bottom. They're trying to figure out. I believe this part the part, or is it right after the immunity win where Ty and Troyzan are talking about? I wonder if there's an idol out here. No, I mean they don't know that each other has idols, but they're the ones that have all the idols.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that for a second Troyzan had that idol. There is 3 idols on that side. I mean, they could legit just screw up the whole game with 3 idols, playing them all at the same time. That's all you need, and you could really mess up like Andrea's game, and she can be gone.
Let's put it this way: Troyzan and Ty have 3 idols, right? There's 9 people left.
Yes.
If used properly, they can go down to 8, 7, and then Cirie has immunity at 6, and they can actually get to the final using all their advantages. But the thing is that they haven't talked to each other, so none of them know that each other have it, so they don't know that they should be using them together.
No, that's exactly. And it could really wreak havoc on this game if they did. I mean, especially like if they use it at final 6, forget it. You know, I think they should just use it one at a time. Nobody would expect that, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to be used because has an idol been played?
Yeah.
No, JT, who played the idol?
They got one on Cirie when Malcolm went home.
Ty's idol.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing is with the idol, I'm on the school of thought of Fishback when he says that he uses the idol to get people to trust him. And I don't see that any of these two. I don't see Troyzan doing it, and I don't see Ty doing it. And I wish they would. It's not, I mean, I'm like I've said earlier, I'm cheering for Sarah, and looks like she's trying to use it. So I'm glad of that. But I don't see Troyzan or Ty even thinking about doing that.
Now, so you would let someone know that you had your idol. Now, Randy, would you let someone know?
No.
No, I wouldn't either. I keep it to myself. I trust no one but myself. Mark, would you tell someone you had the idol?
If we're down to the numbers by this point, I would, just to get people on your side. But and I think at this point they will probably need to do that.
I wouldn't let anybody know.
You gotta really trust
someone
the
that
person.
you've been in your alliance in a while. Like if you were Culpepper, maybe you'd tell Cirie. But Cirie hasn't told Culpepper, and they've been tight since the beginning.
Yeah, it would have to be someone specific that I feel is gonna be beneficial for me. It's not just gonna be just random people that I'm telling, just trying to get someone to be on my side. It has to be someone that I feel comfortable with. That just calm down, don't overreact, don't overplay, don't do that. Just like a Cirie with Michaela when she was trying to help her out. If that was going to be me, I would tell them, be careful, don't have to do it. I have something that you don't just, and then I'll let them know the next time around. Okay, so where are we at here? Okay, so Sarah's not sure what she should do, right? This is the point where they start talking about possibly Zeeke, possibly Cirie, and Cirie goes up to Sarah and tells her, how about Zeeke? Of course, Zeeke has already promised Sarah that they can do a final 5 with Troyzan, Brad, who else? Michaela and Cirie.
Yeah, I think so.
So she trusts that group. She trusts them, and seeing Cirie turn on one of her alliance, one of Sarah's alliances, it kind of puts it up. What do you guys think? We'll ask the chat. What would you all done? Would you all stayed with Sarah with the final 5 with Zeeke, or go against Zeeke? And we'll wait in a little bit here. We'll go back with them. So what would you guys have done?
I would have initially probably done what Sarah did and maybe tried to save Zeeke, because again, it is a numbers game. She trusts Zeeke. She's been with Zeeke, I think, the longest, and she needed him. So I would have tried initially to low-key try to save him. But if I did not see that working, then I would not, because it's not worth your game. Because next week you can be voted out. And I will always go back to Jessica and the Rock Drawer. She was best going at, it was the best thing she did. Yes, she went out by Rock. But if she had changed her vote that day, she would have been voted out next. Without question, they would have sent her packing. So,
I mean, Sarah did try to save Zeeke by revealing her advantage to Cirie, telling her,
which was, I think, was a mistake. Cirie's one of the best players to ever play the game, and I would not have told Cirie that I had that advantage.
Cirie's probably one of the people I would never tell my advantage to.
No.
Now, here's the thing. I get why Sarah trusted Cirie or went towards Cirie, because she wanted to save Zeeke. And by saying, look, do not vote Zeeke out. I have a way to get him out later on. And of course, the fewer votes, there's fewer votes to mess up the advantage, right? So I feel like I think Sarah was on the right track to get Ciara out. Sarah was on the right track to get Ciara out and keep Zeeke for later on, to eliminate later on. But Zeeke is just so dangerous that, I mean, it's hard to work with somebody that is that dangerous in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think, and this goes to the both of you, do you think that Cirie really believed Sarah when she said, I'll save this for later and we'll get Zeeke out? Because my point is, if you don't, I would not have believed her. I would have been like, well, then we'll get him out now. Why wait 2 weeks? Let's just get him out now. So I think that she does believe she has his advantage, and I would have used the advantage differently. Like, hey, listen, if we keep Zeeke, I will use this extra vote how you want next week or in 2 weeks. We can work this vote together. Instead of saying, I'm going to use it for Zeeke later, I would have maybe flipped it a little and said, listen, we'll work together. We'll decide together whose vote we can steal. That's how I would have approached it, instead of saying that I'll save it to get out Zeeke later.
In this particular instance, I believe Cirie was in the wrong. Yes, I get try and go after Zeeke, but when you're up by 2 people, right, in your alliance, and voting someone in your own alliance only puts you up by 1, it only takes that one person to flip to mess you up. So you want to chop down at least one more person off that other alliance, and then you can start going off on someone on your own alliance.
I 100% agree with that, Saul. That's my thought too, especially if you feel like you have that core 5 girls that ended up voting together, then why not take out the other side instead of to ensure that you don't let that side be able to build the numbers to come against you. Because if you take out that side, you're still breaking against Zeeke. You're giving him one less person to turn the game on you with. So yeah, I agree. I thought it was a mistake there to think about that, but we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves there.
Yeah. So let's get back to the chat here, because we asked them a question. We asked if it was a mistake to target Zeeke at this point, not even going into the immunity yet. People are saying mostly yes, it was a big mistake. What did I see here? The only person that was a move that move was good for was Andrea, which that's from Steve.
No, but Zeeke also had said he was going to go after Cirie. I don't think it was a bad move targeting Zeeke at this moment. Because he's that untrustworthy that you just did not know who he was going to target. You could not trust him. You know, it just wasn't, to me, and it was only because he was so willing to target Andrea and Cirie so early. Had he not said that, I would have said it was a huge mistake to even think of targeting Zeeke. But they see that they saw him with Troyzan, they saw him with Culpepper, and they're saying at this point, we can't trust him. We have to get him out because he's so, again, a flip-flopper. If you can't trust someone in your alliance, you know, I'm surprised, I guess, getting later that he did not try to flip the vote to someone else on his side. I am surprised.
So we did jump the immunity challenge, but I don't feel like it was all that
It was dominoes.
interesting for it. But it was I believe in Cole Wrong, right? That did Ty win this in Cole Wrong?
No, McKay.
Cindy?
I think Sydney won it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
But one quick note on the immunity challenge I thought was really interesting. So they released the videos on YouTube of like the dream team like testing it out. And at the end of it, John Kerhofer, who's in charge of the challenges, wasn't happy with it because it was too easy. So they raised it because in the practice, no one knocked it over. And so I don't know how much they raised it, but I do know that they raised it from there. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I think that actually worked against Michaela winning this because Michaela has long legs. So each time she tried to get over it, we saw her, she had to like lift her leg up really high to get over that. And I believe in Cole Wrong, I think Scott was still there, if I'm not mistaken, at that point. Scott hits, or maybe it was Jason, or that hits each time he would try to, that he would hit that lattice part where it would shake everything and drop everything.
Yeah, Scott's enormous.
Yeah, so I believe it's hard for someone who's short as well because you have to go up higher than you're normally stepping. But
and Andrea is Cirie taller than anybody. And
going into it, I thought it was Cirie.
Was all the way at the end. She was neck and neck. And Cirie, I think, is the tallest one there.
Yeah. Oh, Andrea almost messed up, though. Andrea put these things way too close together.
Yep.
It was close. And, at the end, I guess I didn't really care who won because I knew who was going to end up going home. But I would have liked to have seen Michaela win an individual immunity challenge, to be honest.
That was my thought, too.
I thought it would have been nice, especially for her. She is a hell of a competitor. She is a beast in comps. She hasn't won an individual immunity, but she's scary how good she is at these comps.
I think I'm back.
There you go. Back. So Mark's been having problems today.
I'm having a lot of problems today. Let me retract a little bit and say that Michaela had the right idea regarding this flip, because why let the other side have a 4-5 numbers, having to just flip one person over? Well, you can have 6-3, and I think that's something that Andrea isn't really thinking. Andrea and Cirie aren't really thinking because they thought, who the hell is gonna vote? Who the hell is gonna flip? Nobody else is gonna flip. We have 5-4. We're okay.
No, I think she did call that out, and I think that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Andrea wins this immunity challenge, and it came close to, like we said, with Sierra. We talked a little bit what happened back at camp already with Sarah, Cirie, Aubrey, Sierra coming over. So I guess we can just jump to Tribal Council. Anybody have any objections to that?
The only comment I want to make here is, and I posted it on Twitter too, I found it kind of interesting that now that Cirie and Andrea are in the numbers, they kind of took charge of the hammock of Sarah, Andrea, and Cirie. There's too many names close together. But they kind of took, I think that along with the numbers comes the hammock that Sierra Dawn Thomas was posting up in a few episodes ago. So now that Andrea can kind of control it for a little bit.
Yeah, I think I replied to it. Goes, the hammock is equals the throne.
Yeah, that's the throne. Whoever has the hammock is in charge. And
guys in the chat, we'll get with your comments here when we get to Tribal Council, because all that is tied to the question that I asked on Twitter. So Tribal.
There was a lot of acting. There was a lot of acting at Tribal, and which I like. I think that's how I feel like I would play, is that you don't get, like, you answer Jeff's question, but not always with honesty, because that 6, kind of like how Sarah played it off last episode, but that group that ended up flipping all very confidently spoke as if they were sticking to the plan.
Yes.
And so
But here we go. But this is it. Michaela wasn't drinking tea. She wasn't eating popcorn. If you watched Michaela, you knew it was Zeke. Because when it's not going the other way, she's a little bit theatrical. You know, she was very calm in Tribal. And to me, it just showed Zeke was going home.
yeah, but it wasn't a dramatic flip. Like, if it was against someone that was like an enemy of hers, like JT was an obvious enemy of hers. Debbie was trash talking and was cocky the whole time, and they were getting annoyed with it. Zeke didn't do anything like that, so I don't think he wasn't.
She really liked Zeke, and
exactly.
I think that's why we didn't see anything. Because if it was going to be someone on the other side, she would have done it. To be like in your face, look what we do.
I don't think if it ended up being Ciara or Ty, I don't think she would have done anything like that because they didn't do anything to her. I think that's just her kind of payback sort of thing. And I think the 2 people that have gotten it have deserved it in her mind. If for some reason Ciara cussed her out all day and then they were voting out Ciara, she would definitely do something. But I think people that are thinking too much into the Michaela props, that's just Michaela with her like being a little bit thematic. Like she likes that. Like she has that attitude, and I don't think it's a giveaway.
Yeah, I think she's done it more where it might be her going home.
Yeah,
and she just wants it to be something for in case she goes home, she's got another great exit. But but it just ends up that she doesn't go home those days. So on Twitter, I went out and put a poll. I put 2, and let me see which one was first here. I put, did the majority alliance turn on Zeke too early? I put 3 options. Yes, but it'll be okay. Yes, they will, but they will pay for it. No, Zeke was dangerous. We got 47% of the votes going to no, Zeke was dangerous. However, the other 2 were yeses. So technically, the 53% of the people said yes, it was too early. But at the same time, if you listen to the post-exit interview, Zeke said it was the right move because he wasn't going to go after Andrea.
I think that if Andrea didn't win immunity, I was wondering if she would have been voted out. If she didn't win immunity yesterday, would she have been voted out?
Well, from what they're saying is that, from what I've heard in exit interviews, is that supposedly this group had an agreement that they wouldn't go after each other until after the family visit.
Yes.
Whenever that may be.
Which I think they said that they believed it was the next step.
Yeah, and which they kind of assumed would be next. So they kind of had that plan because Zeke did kind of like poison the well against Andrea, but it ended up the vote didn't go against Andrea in that episode.
Mm-mm.
Like it was Zeke and Ozzy. Like, you know what I mean? Like he started poisoning the well, but he didn't start the vote against her.
Yeah.
So I think I voted for number 2 on yours. Yes, but it's too early.
And there was another one that I did. It was kind of in similar vein here. Was targeting Zeke the right move by the new majority alliance? And 56% said yes, 44% said no. So I think, along with Zeke,
I voted he was dangerous, and yes, it was the right move. For me, that's what I thought. I thought Zeke had a good chance of winning, and if Andrea wants to win this game, she has to get Zeke out. I thought it was the right move. I think that they can still have the numbers and just not trusting Zeke. And I really don't understand why Zeke didn't approach, unless we didn't see it and it happened, Culpepper, Troy, Ty, and Ciara, and try to make it a tie. Because I said they had the numbers to make it a tie. So I don't know why he didn't try harder to see if he can flip it, unless he was that blind to him going out. Because I don't think the other side was blind. I think they knew it was Zeke. I do. I know they voted Ciara and Ty, but it doesn't make any sense. So I think they knew it was Zeeke.
I'm going to give my opinion there. So what I think happened there is I definitely think that when Andrea and Cirie pulled in Ciara and said, you'll vote for whoever we vote for, right? And she said, vote for Ty. That was the direction they were given. Which Ciara says, great, not me. Sounds good. I'll bring in Brad and Troyzan. They didn't want it getting back to Zeeke, so they gave it that, and they didn't want there to be a 5-5 tie. Because those 5 went in very confident that we have it. 5's not a majority when there's 10. So they needed something to guarantee. And Ty's not going to vote for himself, so there's no way that there's going to be a 5-5 tie if they tell them to vote out Ty. So that's my opinion there. And that Ty, I don't know where he kind of joined on the same as Zeeke. I don't know where that came from. But I feel very confident with the Ciara, Brad, Troyzan, that because Ciara and Brad have voted the same way every single time they've been to tribal council all season. The two of them have voted for the same exact person.
Here's how I see it. Even if you are like gunning for each other, you still have 3 more days to figure that out, figure the rest of it out. And for right now, you can guarantee to have advantage in numbers. And so, you know, I personally didn't think it was a great idea to vote Zeeke out, even though we knew Zeeke was gunning for Andrea ever since, you know, the merge.
So yeah, so let's see what the chat's saying, because it's been pretty active today.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
It's jumping.
Yeah, each time I try to read it, it jumps back up to the latest one. So some of the people in the chat believe that yes, Zeeke was the right move, just maybe not right now.
Mm-hmm.
Doug says, agree, it was too early for Andrea and Sarah to make that move. Ace says it was a good move for Sarah since they kept the numbers close again and she could flip again, which was what we brought up last week. Is I feel like what she's doing, she's staying in the middle, and normally that person in the middle eventually gets voted out, because both sides are like, let's just end this and we'll duke it out and just take away this uncertainty in the middle.
Not if your name's Tony Vachos.
Well, it looks like it's gonna happen with Sarah. I don't know if they're gonna end up getting upset and voting her out. I don't feel like this is the team that might happen. But of course, I think Doug says it's the wrong crowd to do it with. I think, but I don't know. It might be beneficial for her to keep it like this. Although I still agree that the numbers should have stayed the higher numbers on their side. Let's see here. Steve says he fears that Sarah might lose because of the jury management. I don't know, because yes, Zeeke was voted out, but
I think he respects her.
Yeah, no, Zeeke is someone that will not be bitter. Yeah, he's not Deb, who was totally bitter. He knows that in the game of Survivor, you're gonna have to get your hands dirty. You're gonna have to vote out your alliance when it gets towards the end, and he respects that.
No, Zeeke won't be bitter at all. I think if Andrea was in final 3, he would vote for her to win. 100%. I think that he would be a fair jury member. I'm interested to see who the final 3 are going to be, because I would know who I would pick to win. Like, I would like to see Culpepper and Andrea, and like Aubrey or Cirie and Culpepper. Like, how are you going to pick who wins? You know, like, that's a tough choice. It's going to be really tough unless you get stuck with like Troyzan, Michaela, and Ty. You know, like, that would be, who would you pick to win if it was those 3? You know, so I think it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going to go. I'll say, I don't think Sarah's playing the greatest game. I think she's playing a good game, but in my opinion, she's not playing a winning game yet. I don't think she can beat Andrea, Cirie, in the final tribal. I don't.
I don't think with I don't think if this was someone else, I don't think this is a winning game. I just think Sarah has, for some reason, everybody loves her, and I feel that might be a saving grace. And yes, I am cheering a lot for her because she's the last person on my.
I think
so. We have some more stuff from the chat. Someone posted that. Did you all notice that every tie vote had a little heart on them? Which I believe Doug says they were marked because of that's what Sierra said. I will put an asterisk. I'll do something to mark that it's my vote. So I don't know if all of them had it, but at least 2 of them had it. And yeah, agree. It was meant to make sure there was no tie there. You guys see anything in the chat that you guys?
I thought it was interesting. I thought that Steve had a good point that he was just a little bit disappointed that they were so quick to turn on tie. But that's the game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to say that. But then seeing Aaron saying that it was a great move for Andrea and Cirie, I felt like it was a bad move for Sarah. How is getting convinced of getting rid of your biggest ally a good move? Which I think is a very good point. I think for the rest of those 4 women, it was great, but Sarah's a little bit sketchy.
Yeah, I don't think it was a good move for Sarah, and I'm wondering if how Sarah will handle this next week. Will she hold a grudge against or Andrea, Aubrey, and Cirie for basically forcing her hand and voting out Zeeke and Michaela? Michaela was crying. And those were real tears. She wasn't faking that.
No.
She's an emotional player. She plays with 100% emotion. And she voted out her friend, like one of her only allies in this game, because he has been her ally since Millennial versus Gen X. And I think it was a very hard vote for her, and those tears were real. She was sad.
So Sarah McKillop very well could have jumped against Andrea and kept Zeeke. But I believe the reason that they didn't do that is because if they did that move, that would have pissed off more jury members than just letting Zeeke go, because Zeeke would have understood why he had to go. So by letting Zeeke go, even though she was part of the alliance, she stays on the good side of Andrea and Cirie and all them. And later on, now we see maybe for next week we'll see that she's gonna even promise another final 5 with another group. But that's why I'm saying I think she'll make it. I think she can make it to the end. I hope she can keep enough favor to win. But once again,
so you have a question. Take her out of your draft. Do you think she has the best game on the show? Take her out of your draft.
I'm not saying she has the best game, but I can see the good plays that she's doing. And maybe if she can stay on the good side of those people that are getting voted out, she can still win it.
As someone who the only way that they can get last in this draft is if Sarah wins it all with Saul passing me. I would say that Sarah is playing a good game. I'm not saying that she's the best. I don't know if there is a best right now, but I think she's playing a good game.
Yeah, she's not playing a bad game. I just don't think she's playing a fantastic game. I think she's playing a good game. She's making the right moves. The only 2 things I'm not crazy about is her telling Cirie about the advantage. I would not have told Cirie, especially out of everybody there, Cirie. I think even though she really didn't have a choice, her hands were tied, I think voting out Zeeke will ultimately hurt her.
Yep.
I definitely think if she doesn't go next week, I think she'll go the week after.
So this week, Mark lost his second person finally.
Finally.
After being Mark, after losing the very first player in the very first episode, didn't lose anybody else until now.
And I'm still safe.
And so, Mark, what are your final words for Zeeke? Your second pick, right?
Yeah, he was my first pick actually.
Oh, okay, first pick.
Yeah. He's been through a lot within his time on Survivor, and we all admire him for what he was able to do, even though after the fateful tribal that changed everything, put his game on tilt a little bit. Actually put his game completely on tilt. He still played very hard until the moment he was voted out, and I think we all admire that in a player, and we appreciate that in a Survivor. And that's it.
Yeah. I feel that Zeeke could have very easily been voted out right after if he was very emotional about what happened. But Zeeke has the strength that he was able to overcome what happened right after the Varner vote, or lack of vote, I guess. But for him to come back strong, and he could have made it to the end. My wife was actually rooting for him to win. And I don't blame her. We both liked him in Millennials vs. Gen X, but let's remember that little move where he flipped on Andrea just made him a little bit more of a villain. And I don't think Zeeke cares if he comes out a little bit more of a villain, because he's a Survivor fan. So he loves his game. He knows that what's going to happen if he does these moves. I just think he did that move way too early. Expose himself.
Way too early. I mean, yep.
Yeah, Mark.
So we actually have another question here, Steve. Do you think there's any shade that when Cirie constantly refers to Sarah as Officer Sarah, like is there sarcasm? She does it so often it comes off as kind of fake. I think it's I think she does it more to kind of appease her.
Yes.
To kind of say, look, I don't mean. I think she's trying to do it. I don't know if it's
to play to her ego, like
sarcasm.
Randy was,
Yes.
Like Randy was saying before. I think it's to. I don't know if you were in here, Steve. Cirie knows how to play to Sarah's ego. That's why Cirie is such a good player. That's why it was such a horrible mistake for Sarah to tell Cirie she has that advantage. Cirie makes Sarah feel like Sarah's in charge. Like, even though it was Cirie and Andrea's decision to get rid of Zeeke, it was ultimately made it seem to be that like Sarah kind of helped with that decision, because Sarah needs to have this, because that's what killed her game last time, is her ego. And she's much better at it this time, but that still could be her downfall, is the ego.
And if you watch a secret scene, it's really interesting with Cirie and Sarah talking. Sarah refers to herself as Officer Sarah. She said, where she kind of talks about, and I think it's more of an extension of when she told her about the advantage, where she's like, "Don't worry, Officer Sarah will call in backup." Like, it's referring to herself that way. So I think the fact that Cirie refers to her as that, I think Sarah loves it.
So let's ask the chat. Everyone who is in the chat, put in who you think is going to win this season. We have we have Steve. Said something. After Steve asked a question, A said, "I think it hits towards the fact that she doesn't trust her at all. Maybe a little bit, but I think it's the ego thing a little bit more." Steve did say, but she does it behind her back too. And I think it's also to kind of, I think she's doing it to kind of pretend that she trusts her with everybody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Aaron, I think, you know what? I want Cirie to win too, but I think it's going to be Culpepper. But I was actually typing Cirie in, and I said, I have a feeling it's going to be Culpepper.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Aaron that I want Cirie, but the dark horse is Aubrey. I think I would love that.
Listen, they're both in my draft, so I'm good with that.
I'm a big fan of both of them.
Doug says he doesn't think it means much of anything. So
we have another Cirie.
Yeah, I think Cirie can win this whole thing. To be honest, that's Steve. Aaron, Cirie, but dark horse Aubrey. Of course, Kim wants Culpepper to win.
I want Cirie to win. I think it'll be Culpepper. I want Cirie to win.
It looks like Cirie and it looks like Cirie's like the major one.
I adore Aubrey too, Steve. I love her.
Steve has met Aubrey and talks to Aubrey. I think pretty often. I think. A says, I think Michaela can go to the end as a GOAT. Yeah. I think so too, just based on how everybody does not seem to like her on camp, and we don't know why.
Yeah, nobody likes her.
So let's talk about what happens. Oh, wait, no, Randy.
Aaron put Sandra.
Randy, let's go to our draft. So how are we doing?
Okay, it should be up when I talk, so hopefully you guys can see it. Yeah. So even though Mark's lost someone this week, he still got the most points out of anyone this week because Andrea absolutely cleaned up this episode. So Mark is still in the lead with 139 with 3 people left, Andrea, Ty, and Troyzanne. Kim is in second with 4 people, so she has potential to catch up with Cirie, Aubrey, Sierra, and Brad. Then I'm in third, still left with Michaela. And then Saul is in 4th place with Sarah as his only person left, but not all that far behind me.
I think I said this last time after the live chat went off air, or after the podcast went off air. But last time in Cambodia, Mark and I had a draft, and 5 of my 6 people made it to the final 6. This time around, it's the total opposite.
I mean, at that point, it was just 2 of us, and towards the end, we just don't even talk about the draft anymore because
like halfway through, we're like.
I wanted to ask the chat a question. Who do you think is going home next week?
Oh, that's a good point.
Andrea.
I think Andrea's going home.
Yeah.
I think Andrea too, because I'm including the scenes for next week. Again, we don't see Andrea anywhere, and I think this is when Sarah is going to flip on Andrea. She's going to hold that Zeeke against her. More against her than she is going to hold it against Cirie, because even though Cirie kind of was also leading that charge with getting out Zeeke, because she's the one that approached Sarah, it was ultimately because Zeeke flipped on Andrea is why Zeeke is gone. And I think that Sarah and Michaela are going to hold that against Andrea.
And if they thought she was a challenge threat last week when they almost voted her out, and then she just won immunity again, that's like it's gonna be a tough. She's gonna have to win immunity because she really is a challenge beast. Like she's really good at a lot of these challenges are generally like built for her.
So we have Steve saying that he believes Andrea's going home next week. A says Ty, but he'll probably play an idol though. So.
I really wanted to see Ty go home with 2 idols.
There's no way.
My question is the reason I think that Culpepper's side knew how the vote was going is Ty didn't play his idols. There is no way he was sitting there with 2 idols in his pocket, right? Thinking there was a chance that anyone on his side was going home. That's how I truly believe they played. Culpepper is a great game player. I knew. I think he's a good player, and I don't
think they knew. I don't think they.
I think they knew. I think they knew, and I think they said, "We gotta give Cirie what she wants." We told them we're gonna vote this way, so we're gonna vote this way. There's no way Ty wasn't playing an idol if they didn't think Zeeke was going home.
I don't think Ty. They left Ty out of it. I don't think Ty had any idea. Brad doesn't care all that much about Ty. I don't think he does. Telling him he has the idol. I just don't think they know he has an idol, and they don't care enough for that for Brad. They were just hoping it wasn't them.
Yeah,
they were just trying to survive that episode.
And I think Ty thinks that either Sierra or Brad will be a bigger target than him. That's why he didn't really play his, because those 2 are still in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have Aaron saying that if Andrea wins immunity, he thinks Sarah's going home. No, don't let that be.
I don't think it'll. I don't think it'll be.
It's gonna be it's gonna be Cirie if it's not Andrea.
Yeah. So
Are we talking about?
Jinx it.
Are we talking about things in perspective of the scenes from next week, or?
Yeah, because
Yes.
I mean, because we see Sierra and Sarah talk about the legacy advantage. So now legacy advantage and the vote steal are out there, and we'll see if they can come together. Doug says, go ahead.
I think we have our new Power 5.
Yes.
Judge, based on that preview, I think we got Sierra and Sarah and Michaela and Ty and
Troyzan.
Troyzan. Yeah.
All the advantages in one spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And I think that they're going to vote out Andrea.
Plus Michaela the goat. The advantage is plus Michaela.
And I think they'll vote out Andrea. That's my guess. Like I said, I think Sarah and Michaela are pissed off, and they're gunning for Andrea next week. So if she doesn't win immunity, I think she's gone. Good for me, but she's a great player, so I'd hate to see her
go. Ace thinks that Brad is going to win immunity next time around. And Steve is hoping that with 3 idols and a legacy advantage out there, hopefully we'll see some fireworks soon, which I think it's going to happen. Aaron thinks Sarah's flipping too much. Cirie has ammo against Sarah. She could turn against her.
I also think that Cirie will use this. That's why I said it's a big mistake to tell Cirie, because Cirie might go to Culpepper. You don't know what's going to happen with that, because she had a bond with Culpepper before when Michaela was sitting there, like everybody's crying and Michaela was in her own world, and Cirie, Aubrey, and Culpepper got close, so they might go to Culpepper.
Yeah.
See, next week we see there's a family visit. Was there? Yeah, there was a family visit last season, right? It was in wrong that there was no family visit.
Yeah, there was last week, because I remember last season I remember meeting Zeke's dad.
Yeah, Zeke's dad. Anything else, guys? Anybody in the chat room? Anything that we missed? You guys want to talk about? You guys have anything?
They went to Debbie called everybody idiots. That's what somebody was mentioning.
Ace, idiots. She called everybody idiots because she is what is it? What's the word I'm trying to say?
Bitter.
Crazy.
Far beyond bitter.
I think it's just the fact that this power group is already getting rid of their own numbers. I think that's really all it was.
Yeah, it is. But I feel like if Deb was in that group and she was the one voting against it, she would have been like, "This is brilliant."
Yeah.
It's just Deb. It's the way.
And Deb is going to vote personal. I'll say this: if Culpepper's in the final 3, Culpepper has her vote.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
100% is Culpepper first. And I don't know who would come after Culpepper, but it is. If Culpepper's in final 3, not only will he get her vote, she will advocate for him tremendously at Ponderosa. She will fight for him to death. I think that's what I think she'll do.
So Aaron says Cirie has a bit of a bond with chat moved with Sierra as well. So you don't know what might happen there. Steve asked, do you think that we'll ever see the dreaded tie vote? I think we might see it when one of the idols gets thrown out or one of the advantage gets played.
That's a good point. There could be like it could be like a 1-to-1 tie off somewhere. You know what I mean? But then again, they could avoid the rock if it was something like that. They could avoid rocks if they agree. If the people not in the agree. So there's a chance of that. So
this is what's going to happen if they get to final 6. Sierra is immune and she's still there. Ty uses an idol. Troyzan uses an idol, and
but then Ty gives his other idol to Culpepper.
Yeah, and there's only like 2 people left,
and someone won immunity.
Yeah. Then one person. There's one person. They go home. There's no vote.
Yeah, there's potential. If you're the only one without one, see ya.
They're gonna flip a coin or something. They're gonna have to do. It's gonna happen. The same thing with what's his name with the key. I'll just
go to the house.
Yeah. Ace hashtag tie before tie.
Yep.
I said you'll see a tie vote TAI before you see a tie vote TIE.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't see Mark yet put that there. Okay. All right, guys. We are planning to do Survivor New Zealand.
Yes.
So I think we're keeping our main Spy Shack podcast at 10.
Yeah.
We might do the 30-minute.
11
might do-
p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, we might do the New Zealand at 9:30 next week, at least until Game Changers is over.
Doing back-to-back podcast, 9:30 and then 11.
What do you guys think? I don't know.
I don't know. We can talk through this. I'm crazy. I'm a little bit crazy next week. We can talk through it offline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's behind the scenes, guys. All right. So remember, guys, we are going to be doing.
That's right. You're going to Florida.
Oh, that's right.
Woo.
We're going to be doing Survivor New Zealand, and it's going to get a little bit easier once Game Changers is over. But remember to join us for that. If you guys watch Amazing Race, remember to join Mark and Kim for that recap. I might be able to join you guys tomorrow. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
Please do. Oh my gosh.
So I'll link to that as well. And
For those that aren't watching The Amazing Race, give it a try. This is actually a pretty good season.
It really is.
It really is. So give it a try. I was very put off by it at the beginning. I didn't like the idea, but I think it's been great.
I think it's been really great too.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and I do want to say that I'm trying to catch up to Mark with my buff collection.
Oh, you're back.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm trying to catch up to Mark.
You got that orange buff there, I see.
In person, it looks more orange. I'll give them that. It looks a little bit more orange.
Tiny
Okay.
bit.
You have so many.
Yeah.
Mark. I have none.
I have two. I have Cambodia's.
You don't see this. You don't see this.
I'll have to get one. And then next week we're going to be streaming live from Randy's house when Randy's in Florida.
When I'm
All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Everybody, guys, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and hit that little bell on YouTube so you guys know when we're going live. Not only with New Zealand, with this podcast. In case we move the time around, you'll know. All right, guys, thank you guys for joining us. You guys have a great one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Feliz Cinco de Mayo.